Good afternoon, one and all. A warm welcome to all of you for today's third session. Let me introduce our resource person, Engineer Aslam Muhammad Ashraf from BIM Labs Engineering Service Private Limited, Kochi. He is graduated in Electrical and Electronics Engineering with Autodesk Certified Professional Revit MEP Electrical. Presently, he is working as Senior Technical Engineer, BIM Labs Engineering Service Private Limited, Kochi from 2019 onwards. He worked as Electrical Engineer at Al Huda Engineering Works, Doha, and also he serves as Project Engineer at Tesla Engineers Private Limited, Kochi. His work nature includes training engineering students, graduates, as well as working professionals in all aspects of building information modeling. Once again, I welcome Engineer Aslam Muhammad Ashraf sir to deliver this session. It's over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this warm welcome. And it's a privilege to be part of this faculty development program based on the topic modern trends in civil engineering and construction industry. So we'll be discussing on the topic digital construction today. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Can you put it in a slideshow mode, sir?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I hope you can see my screen now. So our today's topic will be digital construction. And let me introduce myself. I am Aslam Muhammad Engineer. Aslam Muhammad Ashraf. I'm a senior technical engineer from BIM Labs Engineering Services, Kochi. And I'm working in this digitization of construction industry and building information modeling for the last 3 years. And I have a project experience of around 7 years, mainly in MEP services. That is project execution and commission. So we'll be discussing these main key topics, that is defining digital construction, then introduction to building information modeling, then defining building information modeling, then the construction process, CAD workflow, limitations of CAD workflow, then why BIM is relevant or building information is relevant in construction industry, and different aspects of BIM, different workflows related to building information modeling. So before going to all these terms, there are a lot of terms here. We need to have an introduction into all these terms. So first of all, we will see why digital construction is relevant. What is digital construction? How we can define digital construction? So we all know that we all are living in a world where digitization is having its role in every aspects of our life, like the mobile phones we are using, the computers, and every sector, even the education sector, even data, information technology, and even in the financial sector, we are all using the digital currencies, the digital transactions, so, especially after this post-COVID scenario. Before, almost about 20 to 30 years ago, the digitization process has been going on in almost all the fields in our almost all the fields around us. But after the post-COVID scenario, the digitization is a tale we are hearing more and more because digitization has become a norm in our society. We all are having this session in a digital environment. Earlier, it was not the case. We were having we were having offline FDPs and all trainings and all, but the classrooms, the meetings, everything has been changed after this pandemic scenario. So every field or every industry has been transforming with the digital, with the digitization. But we know that the construction industry can be said as the least digitized industry in the world. Earlier, it was carried out, the construction works has been carried out using documents. Documents have prepared by hands, and it has been changed into CAD-based systems like computer-aided drawings, models, and all. But the level of digitization in our industry or the AEC industry or construction industry is very limited. So in this scenario, the digitization and the digital construction is a very important topic and a very relevant point of discussion. And we will see why it is relevant. So what is digital construction? Digital construction can be said as the use and application of digital tools to improve delivering and operating the built environment. Whatever be the built environment, if it is a simple residential building or a commercial building or an industrial facility or a high-rise tower, anything can be said as a built environment. So digital construction is the use and application of digital tools to improve delivering and operating the built environment. So in order to make the project delivery, operation, and renewal, it's the renovation of our built environment safer, more efficient, and collaborative. So these are the some terms we say every time when we discuss digitization of the industry. So which are the which are the important factors that contribute to digitization of the construction industry? That is the first word we will be discussing, that is building information modeling. Then we know the cloud computing, reality modeling, reality capture, artificial intelligence, etc. So all these things can contribute to the digitization of the industry. Okay, so why the digitization of the construction industry is important? That is the topic we will be discussing mainly today. So a digital construction could take the form of simple tools like even the video conferencing to make the project activities, to coordinate the project activities. It can be said as a part of digital construction. Or it can be much more advanced like UAVs, that unmanned aerial vehicles, the drones that can be used to scan site topography or conducting the site inspections after the construction. So any digital input or any digital mean that we are using for enabling the easier project delivery and the operation of the built environment can be said as part of digital construction. So, but the most important or the most discussed term we are seeing when we hear about digital construction is undoubtedly it is BIM or building information modeling. So whenever we hear about digital construction, it can be said that it is equivalent to building information modeling, because the building information modeling or BIM is the game changer in the construction industry like nowadays, because it can contribute very much to the digitization of industry. So what is building information modeling? Building information modeling is the process of generating and managing building data during its life cycle. So we all know that we are using CAD-based workflows, like using AutoCAD to create our drawings, the sections, elevations. Then we will use the Excel sheet to have the data, the schedules, the estimation, etc. Apart from this, there is no digitization in the construction industry, at least in our country. In more than 70% of the projects, we can see that it is the case. The maximum digital media we are using will be the AutoCAD software, then Excel, then it can be email. Okay, only these things we are using as part of the digitization of our industry. But building information modeling can be said as it will start from the initial planning of the project to the entire life cycle of construction. So that is why building information modeling is relevant. So one of the key outputs of this process is the building information model, the digital description of every aspect of the built asset. Actually, we are creating a digital representation of the entire building. when we use building information modeling. Creating a digital building information model enables those who interact with the building to optimize their actions, resulting in a greater whole life value for the asset. Then, to create a BIM model, a modeler uses intelligent objects to build a model. That is called families. So, in order to understand why building information modeling is relevant, we need to know CAD, and we need to know the advantages as well as the limitations of CAD-based workflow. Then only we will understand why BIM is needed or building information modeling is needed. So the definition of building information modeling as part of ISO 19650, it can be said as the primary standard defining the BIM, building information modeling. That is use of a shared digital representation of a built asset to facilitate design, construction, and operation processes to form a reliable basis for decisions. That is, we are creating a database, a virtual database of our building. That will be having its architectural part, structural part, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, infrastructure, whatever we are going to construct in reality, we will create it in virtual using softwares. That is called BIM authoring softwares like Revit, ArchiCAD, etc. Then we will add information. We will enrich the model with information like geometrical data, non-geometrical data, physical, thermal, then heating and cooling loads, climate data, then whatever data we can give as input, the project planning data, everything can be added as an input into this model. The US National Building Information Model Standard Project Committee is another body responsible for the implementation of building information modeling in the United States. And it defines BIM as a digital representation of physical and functional characteristics of the facility. It is not simply some geometry, it is not simply some drawing. It will be having more than that. The physical, the functional characteristics of the building will be added to the model. So it will be, and the other important thing is that it is a shared knowledge resource. It is not compressed to an organization. It is not compressed. It is not handled alone by the client or an engineer. It will be kind of an open resource. It will be available for every stakeholder in the construction project. So it will help to create useful decisions. It will contribute highly to proper decision making of a building construction project. It is not constrained to building construction phase only. It can be started from design, planning, construction, then even up to demolition and renovation of the building. Even the operation and maintenance phase, we can use this same model, the building information model. So it can be said as a single source of truth. So we will see how to create this, what are the different workflows in BIM. So in order to understand more about this, we need to know the traditional construction process and how it differs in building information modeling. Okay, so a construction process can be defined as it can be started from design phase, then it will go to building analysis phase, then project management, then documentation, then construction and operation. So the design phase, it will be there will be two phases: conceptual design, it is the blueprint, or it can be said as the rough sketch of the project. From this, the detailed design will be created by the architect, and it will be handed over to structural or civil engineers. Then they will do the building analysis using some structural analysis software. The MEP engineers will create their lighting analysis, energy efficiency analysis, and using all this data, we will start the construction process. Then we will plan the schedule, how the project will proceed, on which day, which phase of the project will be constructed. The cost and time will be, the cost and resources will be allocated, the budget will be set. Then we will create sheets like the approved drawing, then as-built drawings will be there. Then whenever changes are happening, the versions of the documents will be created. And finally, the construction will start, and it will be commissioned and handed over to the building operation and maintenance team. So this is the traditional construction process. Okay, so traditionally it was carried out using a CAD-based workflow. The engineering team will create the floor plans, the required elevations, sections, the detailed views, the estimates, etc. will be provided, and 3D was optional, only for representing the elevations of the building. 3D was used, and there is only geometry, nothing else, only some lines, curves, circles, and all. And it is for some visualization purpose only, the 3D. But this has many advantages. CAD-based workflow has many advantages when we compare it to the earlier hand-based drawing. It can save a lot of time because we are using computer-aided softwares like AutoCAD or ZWCAD or whatever 2D CAD softwares. But there are a lot of disadvantages that is caused by the traditional CAD-based workflow. That is, the first one can be set as updations and rework, because a small correction in a CAD-based workflow needs a number of updations in different sheets. For example, if you want to change the position of a door or a window in the architectural plan, it should be reflected in the section, the elevation, and whichever views you have created. So every time the draftsman has to make the change in every drawing, and it will take a lot of time and manuals. And another drawback is coordination and clash. There is no proper coordination between different disciplines like architectural, structural, the mechanical, HVAC, electrical, plumbing. All the contractors will create their own drawings, 2D CAD drawings, and whenever these drawings has been brought to the site, and when they start to do their installation works or construction works, there will be clashes arising. For example, there will be HVAC duct going through the same elevation of structural column or a beam, and there will be electrical lighting fixtures allocated in the same place of an air conditioning terminal or as an AC terminal. And consider a high-rise building or a very huge project. There will be thousands of clashes, and if you try to clear these clashes in the site, definitely it will cause time and cost overruns, and it will contribute highly to the over budget of the project, or the budget will be that will result in eventually will result in the cost overruns and loss of the project. So actually we does not have any solution to find the clashes during the design phase. It can be found out only during the execution phase. So then there is no time management. Even though we are preparing the project plans in Primavera or MS project, it cannot be connected to our document. The data will be, the project schedule will be created separately, and we will say we will go according to this schedule. But in most of the cases, the schedule will be of no use actually, because it does not have any relation with the documents, the other workflows we are creating in the project. And in order to create the cost estimation, in order to create the estimation, we need to count manually. We need to do manual estimation methods. And in order to find the energy efficiency of building, how much energy the building will take, we have no option to find out from a CAD-based model. So all of these factors, we have no control over all of these factors if you are using CAD-based workflow. So there is no control over budget and time, then poorly coordinated design documents, lack of multidisciplinary coordination, then reworks, change orders, then delays, cost overruns, and eventually it will result in tight profit margins, and sometimes the budget will be overrun by a very huge difference. So all these drawbacks of CAD prompt the engineering society or the designers to go for alternate methods to streamline the construction process. So that's why building information modeling has been introduced. Okay, in order to compensate for all these drawbacks of CAD-based workflow, BIM has been introduced. So how BIM can help in reducing all these issues that is caused by the traditional CAD-based workflow. The importance of BIM is that it can be extended from the very programming or starting of the project to the operation and maintenance as well as renovation phase of the building. It is not limited to the design phase, it is not limited to the analysis phase. It can be extended to each and every phase of the building construction. The engineering and construction, the project construction, we can extend it to every phase of the project. Okay. So there is automatic updation. That is the first benefit. We does not have to update the views separately. If you are making a change in a floor plan view, it will change in a 3D view, section view, elevation view simultaneously. Then there's another benefit. It is called clash detection. We can find the clashes using dedicated clash detection softwares like Navisys. We can create a BIM model and we can export it into clash detection softwares, and we can find if there is any element clashing between another element. If there is a clash between a mechanical element and a structural beam or a column, or between some electrical and HVAC elements. If there is a clash, we can find it during the design phase itself, and we can clear the clashes during the design phase itself, and we can hand over a zero error model to the site, so that the clashes can be avoided in execution of the project. Then time management. We can create project schedules using third-party softwares, and we can link it with the BIM model. And we can create useful simulations, that is called 4D simulation or 4D construction. The time-based simulation, how the project will progress. We can express it using the virtual model itself. That is, if the columns are rising, the model will show the columns has been completed. Then the slab, then the beams, everything will be added in a time-based format. Another important benefit is that we can we can find the cost estimate from the model itself. We does not have to go for any manual counting or using an Excel sheet. We can find the volume, the length, the area, the number of elements. We can have the detailed bill of quantity from the model itself. That is called 5D estimation in BIM, dedicated quantity estimation and material takeoff tools. So these are some benefits of building information modeling, and it is not limited to this. There is cloud-based coordination. In a construction project, coordinating between different teams is a very time-consuming and a very difficult task, because we are using mobile phones, WhatsApp, or some verbal communication to do all these things. But there is an option in BIM that is called connected BIM. The tools are called BIM 360, and we can have all the data in a cloud server, and all the team members will be having access to this server. We can share our model in real time, in simultaneously to all the team members, and they will be notified via email. Automatically generated emails will be sent to their mailbox, and they can see their models in mobile apps in their computers, and whatever changes that is happening from other team members, that will be updated in real time. So there is a proper coordination, cloud-based coordination. Like we are using some Facebook or Google Drive, we will be getting notifications on what is happening in the design phase, in the site, the site report, the submittals, everything will be streamlined using the cloud-based platform. Then we can create useful building simulations like energy analysis reports, then structural analysis, then heating and cooling load analysis for HVAC engineers. Then we can use this model for virtual reality modeling, then AR, augmented reality, etc. So all these things are benefits of building information modeling. So if you are using the CAD-based workflow, it cannot be executed. Only we will be having some CAD-based 2D drawings, and the amount of data that can be retrieved from the 2D CAD drawing will be much limited, and it is prone to human errors also. So we have explained all these things. The construction can be done in a very safe manner because there is a streamlined process going on. Then operating costs can be effectively lowered because all the planning, all the construction will be virtually done before the real execution of the project. And when we hand over this data to the site, it will be very easy to carry out the process. Then 3D, 4D, and 5D. That is 3D model, 4D means time, that is a schedule, and 5D is the estimation that can be created from the BIM model. It can be used for decision making. And we can have regulation complaints, the local or international road complaints can be carried out in a very low margin or a very low amount. Also the sustainability like the LEED certification, the energy efficiency can be calculated from the 3D model itself using softwares like Insight, and the sustainability studies can be done before the actual construction of the project itself. So BIM, it is not for the designer or the draftsman or the client. It is for the entire stakeholder of the project. That is from owner to the facility manager. Whether it be contractor, architect, structural engineer, mechanical engineer, fabricator, facility manager, or maintenance technician. The BIM model is useful for all of these stakeholders. So for the case of owners, it can be used for their reducing their financial risk associated with the project. It can be used for creating reliable cost estimate and improved collaboration of the project team. And it can be used for assure program compliance through ongoing analysis of the building model against own and local code requirements. So the local code requirements, the energy efficiency, the BIM-based energy and lighting design, everything can help the owner to reduce the financial risk associated with the project. Also, an owner model can be set as an as-maintained model or as an as-built model. It will be having the entire data related to the model, like space management, the fabrication details, maintenance management, energy performance. Everything will be there in the as-built or as-maintained owner model. So even after the handover of the project, it can be used for further renovation of the project, further approvals, their demolition. In every phase of the project, it can be it can be used by the owner. And for the future phase management, this model can be used. Also for facility manager, this is a similar use, that is using the model for facility managing and maintenance planning, etc. So it can be used for knowing the details about the service period, manuals, replacement period of the equipments used in the building. For example, you have some furnitures that is used in the building, and we will be having the BIM model showing all the procurement details of the furnitures, the warranty period, the replacement date, everything will be there, and we can use this BIM model to know exactly the service report of the equipments used in the building, the renovation. The renovation budget, the renovation estimate, everything can be accessed from the model. So it is very useful for facility managers also, and also for the future space management and then setting operation and maintenance. Another important thing is that we will be having the maintenance schedule. It can be uploaded into a BIM model. So the future maintenance can be planned according to using the BIM model itself. And we does not have to call many persons and confirm whether the maintenance has to be done, what was the previous work done. So it can be extracted from the BIM model itself. So it is very useful for facility managers. Also for government institutions, it is very useful because they can streamline the process, and because of the collaborative nature of the building information modeling, it is very useful for government institutions also. They can check whether the model is complying to the local codes, the required code requirements is done or not. Everything can be done. Also visualization can be done. So it is very useful for government institutions also. And for all the stakeholders like architects, engineers, this can be very useful. So there are many points to discuss regarding the usage of architects, structural engineers, mechanical engineers. So in short, we can say that the entire cost of the construction project, the clashes, it can be reduced. Then reworks can be reduced. That the turnaround time can be reduced. The total estimating the cost, we can have the better accuracy in estimating the cost. So most of the issues can be resolved during the design stage itself. That is the main benefit of a BIM model. So we will see some software interface, then we will go deep into this. Otherwise, it will be difficult to understand what it is going on. So what are the different workflows related to BIM? That is another important topic. So how we can execute the BIM or building information modeling? So we need some BIM tools like different softwares like Revit, then Formit 360, then structural analysis softwares like STAAD and DTABS, then MS Project Primavera and Navisworks. So we can use all these softwares to create a proper BIM execution plan. We need to know that BIM or building information modeling is not simply a software. It is a process. It is a process that will be carried out during the entire phase of the building construction, and it is not restricted to a single software like Revit or ArchiCAD. It will be starting from conceptual design softwares like Formit or SketchUp, and it can be extended to Revit for detailed design, and we can use the model that is created in Revit for analysis in platforms like Autodesk Insight, then structural analysis softwares like STAAD and ETABS. Then we can create the project planning data, the project management data we have created using Primavera or MS Project, and we can bring it into softwares like Navisworks to create a 4D simulation by linking with the BIM model. Then finally, we can create the documents like sections, 3Ds elevation from the Revit authoring software, the BIM authoring softwares like Revit itself. And there is softwares like BIM 360 that is used for cloud-based collaboration. So we will see the interface of some softwares like Revit and Navisworks and how it can be used to create a BIM model. Then you will be having more insight into these workflows. So the importance of Revit is that Revit is a BIM authoring tool. We need BIM authoring tools to create a BIM model. Then we need analysis softwares like STAAD, ETABS, then Autodesk Insight for energy analysis, structural analysis, etc. Then we need project management softwares like Primavera or MS Project to create the project management data, and we can link the project management data with the BIM model using softwares like Navisworks. Then for clash detection between different disciplines, we can use the same software that is Navisworks. And finally, we can use BIM 360 for project coordination using cloud, the collaboration. Okay, so Revit is a BIM authoring tool, and we can create new projects using Revit. For example, I will show you some models I have created. The importance is that we are not using some lines or some kind of arc or tools to create the model. We are using the real elements, the virtual elements we are using. For example, if you want to draw a wall, there is a tool called the wall itself. If you want to place a door, you can use the door family. It is called family. Everything in Revit is called a family. Window, door, roof, or mechanical elements, electrical fixtures, lighting fixtures. Everything can be said as a family. For example, you can see the elements that is drawn in this model. If you select any of this, you can see the properties. It is called wall itself, and you can see the base of the wall in which level it is up to which level. Then the length of the height of the wall, the total area, the total volume, everything is added as parameters. So that is why it is called building information modeling. There is not simply the model, there is more than that. There is information, a lot of information. For example, if you go to some option like edit type here, you will see the structure of this wall. This, you can have a preview. And it will show the different layers of the wall. For example, the center is a 20 centimeter brick, and the plastering can be added as concrete plastering on both sides with the thickness mentioned. And if you go deep into the material, you will be having the thermal properties, the R values, U values, everything will be added there of the material, and it can be used for energy analysis studies at all. For example, if you want to know the thermal properties of the brick, it is added here, like the thermal conductivity, specific heat, density, emissivity, permeability. So you can use materials with better U and R values for energy efficient building construction and all. So that is one advantage. And you can even change the material. So, for example, if you want to change it into a concrete retaining wall, you can simply change the material here, like concrete. So it has a dedicated library, Autodesk material library, and it will be having a lot of materials that we are normally using in our projects. So if you are changing the material, the texture, everything will be replaced. So the material appearance, everything will be changed according to that. Even you can add paints, you can remove the paints from this. So the material texture will be seen in a rendered manner. So in order to draw some element, you do not have to draw some kind of lines, or if you want to draw a wall, you can simply use a wall tool and you can simply draw the tool. You can simply draw the element. And that wall will be drawn. And the main benefit is that that change will be reflected in every view. For example, if you are making a change in this floor plan, it is a top view or a floor plan view, and if you are going to delete some element from here, for example, these steps, I'm going to delete this, and that change will be simultaneously reflected in the 3D view. And if you go to the elevation views, that change will be reflected. For example, I'm going to delete the roof from this, or a wall from this elevation view. That change will be reflected in the 3D, even in 2D view, it will be reflected. So reworks and updations are not required, like in AutoCAD. And everything is an intelligent object or called a family. You can select the window or door or whatever, and it will be shown as that exact equipment itself. It's called a window, and the material used, the thickness, the width, the height, everything will be added as parameter. Even the frame material, the trim material, panel material, everything is listed, and you can when you replace it here, that change will be added into the model also. And you can create your own custom equipments, custom windows, custom doors, furnitures, etc. And you can load a lot of elements from this interface itself. Like furnitures, kitchen equipments. So whatever elements we are using in a normal project, that can be virtually added from the libraries. And if that is not available, you can create it using your own family creation tools in Revit itself. You can see here the library list almost everything. So I'm adding one furniture here. And you can see that this is a separate family, and you can change the number of chairs, even the number of chairs can be changed. And that change will be reflected in every view. You can see that changes there in every view. So you need not have to draw all the sections elevation separately. You simply place the element, that change will be reflected everywhere. So similarly, you can place the landscaping elements, the structural columns, beams, everything you can place using these Revit tools. Like you want to place some site components like trees, you can load it from here. And that change will be reflected in every view. And even in sections that will be added, elevations. So the need for rework is completely avoided if you are using BIM based workflows. And another thing, another important function is that we can create our own custom elements that, like we shown in wall, we can even create doors, windows, the columns, roofs, etc. according to our requirement. You can create sloped roofs, curved roofs, everything we can create from using these elements itself. And it is very easy to copy elements for creating multi-stories. And for example, if you want to repeat these elements through multiple levels, it is a very easy job, unlike in CAD. You can simply copy the elements and you can paste it into other levels. Or you can simply copy I'll show you. So you can be copied directly to different layers, and you can create multi-story building. Like a typical levels can be created very easily. So it will not take much time, and its 2D views, its sections, elevations will be readily created. So these are some functions of Revit. And another important thing is that it is automated estimation. That is 5D estimation can be created automatically from the model itself. For example, if you want to create an estimate of all the equipments used in this building, normally how you will be doing, you will be counting using Excel, some kind of Excel sheets, or manually you will be count from the CAD file, etc. And it will be a very time consuming process, and it will be prone to human error also. So that can be avoided using automated estimation workflows in Revit. For example, if you want to create an estimate of all the elements, all the doors used in this building, you can simply go to a tool called estimate or schedules and quantities. And here you can set which element you want to have the estimate. If it is door, you can set it as door, then click, then set the name of the door, the manufacturer details. These are all parameters available for the door, like family, then the manufacturer details, then which level it is placed, then the model number, if it is available, it will be shown, then even the thermal properties, then width, height, everything can be listed. Finally, the count, even the cost. So that will be listed. All the doors with the name of the door. If you are providing the manufacturer details, that will be also listed here. For example, I want to have I know the manufacturer detail of some of the doors, so I'm selecting. Okay, the shutter will also be considered as a wall, so or as a floor. So I am selecting this and editing the manufacturer details here. You can see the manufacturer details here, like for example, Godrej or something related to it. And that change will be readily affected in the schedule, in which all the instance we are using the same, that will be reflected. Similarly, if you want to know the total cost, you can set the cost for each equipment and the total cost can be found out. You can sort by different parameters like manufacturer, etc. Okay, and if you know the rate of one of the element, you can have the total. So you does not have to count manually. So just have to show which category you want to have the estimate, that will be listed here. And it can be easily exported to Excel sheet also. It can be exported to Excel using export options and all. Can be easily exported to Excel format. Similarly, you can have the details of the materials used, like cement, sand, the concrete, everything can be estimated from the model itself. For example, if you want to have the total estimate of the material, the wall material details, you can have it like this. It is all created automatically. The material description, material area, volume, number of bricks can be calculated using equations. You just have to provide the value of the volume of a single brick or 1 cubic meter cube of the material. That will give you the total amount required for the specified material. So it can be created in a matter of minutes. But we know actually if you are going to calculate this from an AutoCAD file, we need to measure the length, the width, the everything, and we need to find out everything manually. But in the case of Revit, it can be carried out by using automated estimation. So that is a very huge advantage for those who are doing estimations and all. So this is another benefit of the building information modeling. And you can create different visualization like rendering, etc. You can create, and it needs some high configuration computers. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time to create rendering of the buildings, useful renderings. Otherwise, you can use cloud-based rendering platforms like Autodesk Render in Cloud and all. Similarly, you can create structural models. For example, you can have the structural model of the same building. I'll show you. So you can create the structural model similarly using Revit tools like column, beam, then the foundation, structural foundations, piles, everything can be created using the structural tools here. Even the rebar details can be added. And the best thing is that you can link together all of these models, the structural, the architectural, etc. So if you want to draw a column, actually it is a very simple process. You can go to the corresponding plan view. You can select the type of column you want to draw. Then you can set the height up to which level it has to be drawn. And simply placing something here. And you can see that that specific column will be added. And you just have to place, choose the tool and set the upper and lower limits that will be drawn. And you can connect the beams similarly. Similarly, isolated footings, the rebars can be added. Everything related to structural elements can be placed using these tools and the process is similar, and you can have the estimate of all these things also. You can create the estimates of columns and beams based on the volumes, and you can create from the Excel. You can create from the schedules option. And whenever you are making a change, that will be reflected in every view. So you can have the elevations, the top views, etc. Even the plan views by drawing from a single 3D model itself. And you can export this to AutoCAD or PDF or whatever format you want to present it to your site. That is also possible. You can export it into different formats. Even to CAD format, it can be exported, and you can print in any paper size like A1 to A0 to A4. In any paper size, you can print it. That is also possible. Similar is a case with MEP models like HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and all. So this is the MEP model for the uh, same file you are using, same the architecture file. Similarly, you can create electrical documents of the same project, and you can club them together to form a coordinated model. And that is done normally using the software called Navisworks for coordination and for clash detection and all. And you can find the clash if there is any clash between different elements. That is another important as well as interesting workflow to bring together all these files, that is architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and check the clashes between different elements and creating the 4D simulations at all. So I'll show you that workflow also. So for that purpose, we'll be using a software called Navisworks Manage, and I'll be using 2021 version. So it can be used for clash detection purpose as well as 4D simulation, that is bringing together that 3D model and the project management data. So you can create 4D simulations, how the project will be proceeding. You can visualize the progress of the project. So meanwhile, I will show you some more details about BIM. And BIM is not limited to 3D modeling, 4D estimation at all. Like we said, it will be, there are different dimensions in building information modeling, starting from 3D, and it is now extended up to 70. That is, 3D is simply creating a 3D representation of the building using softwares like Revit, and it will be having its geometrical as well as non-geometrical data like volume, area, etc. And then the next one is scheduling. That is called 4D BIM, scheduling of the project. That is a getting the time factor into the 3D model. That is called 4D BIM. We can use any project management software to create the schedule, and we can bring the project management data and 3D model together using softwares like Navisworks. Then 5D, we have seen how to how the real estimation from the 3D model, the BIM model itself, and we can have the estimate for each and every component that we are using in the project. And another dimension that is called 6D or sixth dimension, that is called sustainability. We can have energy analysis, how much energy will be used by the building annually if you are building using the materials provided in the BIM model. And we can check whether it is satisfying the certification, LEED certification conditions and all. And if it is not satisfying, we can replace the materials with better values, better energy efficiency values and all. And we can again run the report, and we can energy optimize the building in order to contribute to carbon neutral environment and all. Then the seventh dimension, that is called facility management applications. That is where the building information modeling will be used for maintenance and operations by adding parameters like the manuals, then the maintenance schedules and all. It can be used by the maintenance technicians and engineers for planning their future maintenance, renovation, then demolition, etc. So these are the BIM dimensions, 3D to up to 70. Then we will be seeing BIM adoption maturity levels. So there are many standards governing the BIM. It is not simply some drawing some elements and representing this as BIM. It needs some specific standards to identify it as a proper BIM model. These standards are developed by countries like Britain, UK, because the ISO 19650 standard is developed based on UK standards, and they are the front runners of BIM adoption. That is UK, United Kingdom. So it starts from level 0 and it will be extended up to level 3 BIM. So what is level 0 and what is level 3? That is also important. Actually, level 0 can be said as the initial 2D CAD based documentation. That is the normal CAD based workflow. It is called a level 0 BIM. We will be providing PDFs and drawings based on AutoCAD drawings and all. And it is an obsolete level that is rarely used by industry professionals in developed countries, but in our country and most of the developing countries, it is the most widely used even now. That is why we need more digitization in our industry. Then we all are familiar with these kinds of 2D representation by drafting or by softwares like AutoCAD. And level 1 will be the combination of 3D CAD and 2D drafting. We will be using some kind of 3D for representation, like 3ds Max or SketchUp for rendering purpose, for client presentation and all. And there will be a common data environment that is managed by the contractor. It will be electronically stored in a computer or a server, and it will be shared between it will be shared only between the contractor and the client, and a little bit to some other stakeholders. And the level of collaboration between different stakeholders is very less when we are implementing level 1. So then we go to level. So the level 1, in order to satisfy the level 1, there are some conditions like roles and responsibilities of all stakeholders should be outlined. Then standardized naming convention should be adopted. Creation and maintenance of project-specific codes and spatial coordination. That is IFC files, Industry Foundation Class. Then there should be a common data environment for storing the data. So these are the standards governing level 1 BIM, and level 2 BIM is prescribed by the UK government for public sector projects. So level 2 BIM is prescribed by the UK government for their public sector projects, and it will promote collaborative working. That is, there will be a collaborative environment. Every stakeholder will be having the access to the 3D model. The collaborative working is a distinguishing aspect of this level, and level 2 requires streamlined information exchange related to a project and seamless coordination between all the systems and the stakeholders. There will be a proper protocol how to share the data between different stakeholders, and there is more collaboration than level 1. So there will be easy flow of data between different team members. So that is the main advantage of level 2 BIM, and it is recommended for all the projects, all the public sector projects by UK government nowadays. So we have to satisfy the conditions of level 1, as well as we need to have the BIM or CAD software supporting file format like IFC, Industry Foundation Class. It is kind of open BIM standard. We can export any BIM file to IFC format, whether it is Revit format, ArchiCAD. It can be converted into IFC format, so even if the clients are using the engineers are using different format, different softwares, it can be brought together in a common database. So that is a distinguishing characteristics of level 2 BIM. Then COBie means it is a term used for maintenance management. It will be having all the data, all the maintenance data related to the building, all the equipments listed, its maintenance schedules, its purchase dates, its warranty periods, everything will be provided as an Excel sheet. That is called COBie. So this will comes under level 2 BIM. And level 3 BIM is called open BIM. Here there will be a central cloud-based platform for sharing the data, like BIM 360, and there will be this can be said as the perfect BIM implementation. That is, from the starting phase to the execution and even the facility management, the stakeholders from client to facility manager, engineer, technicians, everyone will be having controlled access to the cloud-based BIM 360 platforms like BIM 360, and they can access the data, and there will be automated notifications, and a proper BIM execution plan will be there if you are using level 3 BIM. So it is some graphical representation of level 3 BIM. So different teams will be having their own restricted access. The access can be managed by a BIM manager. So it needs an open data standard that facilitates the sharing of project data around the globe. Then the client should be trained for using the BIM technique. So all these conditions has to be satisfied in order to implement and adopt level 3 BIM. And these are the countries that is leading. These are the leading countries with BIM adoption, and UK is obviously the front runner or the pioneer in BIM implementation, and also Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark have been adopting BIM from 2002, and the levels can be varying. And in countries like Singapore and Hong Kong also, it is mandatory for having buildings greater than 5,000 square meters. They need to implement BIM. And in India, the main projects like metros and airports have been implementing BIM, like the latest Bangalore International Airport. They are using a kind of level 3 BIM. Even the maintenance and facility management have been carried out using BIM workflows. So that is a very good example of the BIM success stories. The Bangalore Kempegowda International Airport, even during the pandemic situation, because of the proper implementation of BIM, collaborative BIM, they could run the project remotely by using different virtual platforms at all. So that is a very good example for BIM implementation in India, the Bangalore International Airport. And obviously all the developed countries are front runners in BIM implementation, and they will be making it as a mandate most of them have been made BIM as a mandate for projects like above 5,000 square meters and all. And many countries are joining the run to implement BIM as a mandate to get the approval from the government agencies. So we can expect the government the mandate of BIM in India very soon. The things are going in that direction nowadays. So this is about BIM implementation and different levels of BIM. So anyway, now we will see how the software Navisworks can contribute to BIM workflows, how 4D simulations and then how clash detection can be done using Navisworks. So this is the interface of Navisworks, and we can bring the Revit files. We can export the Revit files into Navisworks format and open it in Navisworks. The name indicates the Navisworks. It can be used as a navigation and simulation software. That is because the Revit files will be of huge size. It can be in 100 MBs or can be 1 GB or 2 GB according to the file size. The information and graphical data, it can be a huge project, huge files. But if you convert it into Navisworks format like NWC, it can be of very little size and it can be easily navigated. So that's why we are using Navisworks format for project review and clash detection, etc. So I have already exported these files, the architectural, structural, as well as the MVP file as an NWC file, that is Navisworks file already. So I can open it in Navisworks directly. So this is the architectural file. And even you can have the rendering properties into this. The materials can be like we saw in Revit, it can be seen in here also. Then we can bring structural and MVP files using some tool called Append. So this is now a federated model or a coordinated model. You can see this is called a selection tree, and you can select and hide elements if you want to. So you can see that all the things have been brought together, the HVAC, the pipelines and all, the structural columns and beams, everything has been brought into this interface. And I'll first show you how to do the clash checking. So clash detection is a very important tool. If you want to know if any element is having clash between different elements, you can run clash detection. So clashes arise as the models of various disciplines, architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, firefighting, etc. are combined to make a composite model or a federated model or a combined model. Different names are used, coordinated model. So we can when we bring together different models, the clashes can arise. If we can find the clash and clear it during the design phase itself, we can avoid the needs for reworks and that will eventually reflect in the budget reductions and all. So there are different clashes like hard clash, clearance clash, duplicate clash, etc. A hard clash means simply some element is touching another element. There will be a tolerance value, for example, 1 centimeter tolerance or 5 mm tolerance. If it is clashing by only 5 mm, that will be neglected as that will not be considered as a clash. But if you are setting the tolerance value as 0, it will be considered as a clash, even if it is touching by 1 millimeter. Then clearance clash is there. If you want to have clearance between different elements, for example, you want to have clearance between a pipe and a wall. The clearance should be like 10 centimeter. So you will set the tolerance as 10 centimeter. And if you run the clash test with the clearance clash condition, and if the space is only 5 centimeter, it will be highlighted in the model. So you can remove that clash and you can increase the distance to satisfy the condition, that is 10 centimeter clearance. Then duplicate clash. Sometimes when we model, there will be more than one element modeled at same place. So you can find the duplicate using clash test in Navisworks. So these are the three different kinds of clashes. And the clashes will be found using Navisworks, and it will be sent for review for corresponding designer, and they will clear the clash using Revit software like Revit itself, and that will be published to the site. That is the basic workflow. Okay, so I will show you how to find the clash using Navisworks. So in order to do that, first of all, you need to have a federated model combining all the building parts, architectural, structural, MEP, etc. Then there is a tool called Clash Detective here, and you can specify between which element you want to find the clash. Before that, you have to define a test, that is add test. For example, I want to find the clash between structural file and HVAC elements, AC components. So I will define a clash here. Then from the available files, first of all, I will select the structural part. So all the columns, beams, etc. will be selected. Then from selection B, this is selection A and this is selection B. From selection B, I will be selecting only the AC part, that is HVAC part. So air terminal, duct fittings, duct, mechanical equipment, all these denotes the AC parts, HVAC parts. Then from first floor, I will select the same. So all the AC related elements have been selected. And the clearance, the tolerance value, I am going to set it as 0, and I need to know the hard clash, that whether it is elements are touching each other. So if the HVAC duct is passing through some column or beam, it should be rerouted. Otherwise, it will be creating a lot of issues inside. So then if I click on run test, if there is any clash between this, it will highlight here. Okay, it is showing that there is no clash, so we can ignore because there is no clash between the structural columns and beams and HVAC elements. So you can check it in the model if it is true or not. You can simply hide the architectural plan and check. You can see that the HVAC element is not touching any column or beam, so that is obviously true. A small gap between every beam and HVAC part. So that is why it is not shown as a clash. Then we can check between the MEP elements itself, like the duct and pipes and all. There are pipes going on here. So we can check between pipes and MEP elements, that is duct. So again, I will go to Clash Detective, run another test, then rename it as plumbing versus structure. So plumbing versus HVAC. And from the from the left side, I will select the plumbing elements like pipes, etc. And the right side, I will select the AC elements. So if I click on run test, it is now showing that there are 6 new clashes are there between these two elements. And if you zoom, you can see that this pipe is going through this duct. Similarly, if the duct is touching a structural column, it will be highlighted if it is there. And you can create a clash report showing this, showing all these things. You can create a clash report by going to report, then write report. You can create a report. That will be a format, HTML format. We can even have Excel format or many options. And if you go to that specific option and open that report, so it will highlight all the clashes with the images. You can directly go to the image and see where the clash is erasing. Okay, and how you will clear these clashes, that is an important factor. So you can either change the height of pipe or you can reroute the duct. So here you can find different options like element IDs and all. You can select this element ID, and for example, I'm selecting the element ID of the pipe, that is item 1 here. And I will copy this. Then in Revit there is option to find the element based on element ID. And that specific element will be highlighted. You can see here. And you can either delete or you can reroute these pipes using Revit tools and all. And then if you try to run the clash test, that clash will be removed. The number of clashes will be like 5 only after removing that specific clash. If you again rerun the test, there's an option to rerun the test here. Similarly, you will clear all these clashes separately. And finally, a zero clash model will be handed over to the site. So that is the form of clash detection and resolving. And you can create some kind of resolved clash report. After finding all the clashes, the status will be here resolved. After clearing all the clashes, it will be kind of resolved here. So I will show you one example. I'm just deleting this in order to remove the clash. Not going to reroute, just for the times. Okay, I'm deleting these two pipes so that the clash is removed. In reality, it is not possible. You have to reroute the pipe in order to avoid the clash, like taking it above or below this. Similar in the case of structural elements and all. We cannot change the structural design because structural design cannot be changed easily. But these are all metallic or PVC elements. So the MEP elements can be rerouted more easily than structural part. So mainly the changes will be carried out by mechanical or piping designers and all. The structural part is seldom changed. Okay, I will save this. And after making the change, I will again export this file into a Navisworks format. That is a workflow. After making the change, it will be again exported into Navisworks. And the existing file will be replaced. Then we will again reopen the same file, the Navisworks file, the clash detective. And if you rerun the test, you can see that 3 clashes have been resolved. And because of some changes, a new clash is created, but 3 clashes have been resolved. So now you have to remove the other 4 clashes. That's all. Similarly, you will clear all the clashes and a zero clash report will be handed over to the coordinator. That is a workflow. So it will be very easy to construct without a with a zero clash model. If you are handing over this document to the site, there will be no clashes. There will be minimum clashes arising in site. And the other important thing is it is called 4D simulation. That is another important thing. That is linking the model, the BIM model, with data from project management softwares like Primavera or Navisworks. So that is called timeliner tooling Navisworks. Here you can even add your task like task 1, task 2, etc. For example, the project will be starting like the foundation, then the columns, beams, floors, then walls, windows, doors, and it will be progressing like that. Then interior works, MEP services, then finally landscaping. That is how the task will progress normally. So you can add different tasks here, or you can bring it from third-party softwares like Primavera or MS Project also. Or can we bring through a CSV option, that is a kind of Excel file. So there are many options. Or you can manually add it here. I will show you a basic example like structural foundation, a time-based progression, how the project will be scheduled. Then there should be a floor in between. So I will add another task here. Then walls, and you will create a schedule based on this. So similarly, there will be many tasks like then roofs. So actually, it will be like ground floor foundation, then ground floor floor, then floor based. It will be progressing like floor based. But I'm for the time being, I'm representing this as a single entity, a single floor. That's all. And here you can enter the starting date, the ending date, etc. For example, it is starting from 1st of or 2nd of August, and it will be ending. The foundation will be ending like 9th of August. Then the next task will start by 10th. So you will create a schedule, and a Gantt chart will be created simultaneously here. So from this calendar, you will add all the dates. Okay, then all the other like there will be the row should be after. You can reorganize if you want to reorganize the task. You can use the move up down option here. And the important factor is that important thing is that you have to link this task with the real model, the real BIM model here. So how you will connect that? That is the important thing. So first of all, structural foundation. So I need to connect all the structural foundation element with this task. So I will select from here one of the structural foundation, and you can select same from here, same type. All of the structural foundation will be selected, and here you will set, you will attach it to this corresponding task. So how will attach? Right click here, then click on attach current selection. So all these elements selected here will be added to this specific task. Similarly, floor, select the floor from the geometry. You can select it either from here or from this selection tree. You can select it from here if you want. So here I will be selecting from the model itself, attaching, then similarly columns. I'll select one of the columns. Then click on select same type. All the columns will be selected. You can see the blue color here. Similarly, beams. So beams is called structural framing. It is called the category structural framing. So once you are familiar with the softwares like Revit, it will be easier to identify. Otherwise, it will be sometimes confusing. So the structural framing is called beams, and you can attach this to that specific task. Similarly, walls. I select one wall, then select same. So you select same type. So all the walls will be selected. You can check it here. All the walls are being selected. Then you have to attach it to the wall activity. Similarly, the roof. Doors and windows. So all the doors and windows from this model, the architecture model, will be connected here. So you can separate the activities if you want to. How you are going to plan, you can, in that way you can connect. Actually, there are many other elements like ceilings that I have not considered here. Actually, it should be there. So all the doors and windows are being added. That is also connected. Then finally, if you want to have the landscaping, you can add another task, landscaping. Sometimes the task can be simultaneously started. All these tasks I have added like start finish format. After finishing of one task, another will start. Sometimes the task can start simultaneously, like for example, I'm adding this landscaping from 9th of September itself, because it is starting from the same date of construction of the roof. So I will set it as 9th of September, and it will be ending like 23rd of September. So all the landscaping elements. So you can confirm by clicking on these selections. It will highlight the connected geometries. So if there is any error, you can replace it. Okay, then you can run, now you can run the simulation. Before that, you need to set whether it is construct or demolish or temporary construction. You can set. All these are new construction. So I will set it as new construction. So finally, you can run the timeline or 4D simulation. So why it is called 4D? Because the fourth dimension, that is the schedule or the project planning data, is being linked with the 3D model. So that's why it is called a 4D simulation. And you can go to the simulate tab here. Then you can go to settings and make sure the time and date is correct, the starting and ending date are correct or not. Then you can set it based on days, hours, minutes, etc. So I'll be setting it based on days, 1 day interval. And you can see that it will be starting from 2nd of August. So it will be around 53 or 54 days duration is there. So I'm setting the seconds as 54 seconds. So 1 second will be equivalent to 1 day in the simulation. Then it will be planned based on planned days, not actual days at all. So it should be based on planned days. That is, we are providing planned start and planned end here. Then we can start and the simulation will start. You can see that starting day here, 2nd of the August, 9 a.m. day 1, week 1. And if you click on play, the schedule will start running. And the construction, you can see the progress happening here. The foundation, then the floors, the columns. So how you are providing the data, it will be simulated accordingly. So now you can see, if you pause this simulation here, now you can see that it is day 33, 5th week, that is 3rd of September. And if you are bringing the cost data from Primavera MS project, the cost can also be highlighted here, the budgeted cost. So you can understand while during the construction of the columns and beams, how much of the cost will be consumed, and you can plan the budget accordingly from the simulation itself. Now it is very much interactive than going to look at Gantt chart or some network diagram. It is very easy to understand from the model itself. And there are many sophisticated tools to create more interactive animations and all. So we can create a simulation like this. So this is called a 4D simulation, and you can even add the 5th dimension, that is the cost of the project, into here, like we did here in day, week, etc. If you are bringing the data from in our Primavera or MS project, that can also be implemented. So that is called a 4D simulation. And clash detection in Navisworks we have already seen, and we can create many useful animations at all, like you can create the walkthroughs, how the building will look. You can use the tools like walk here to navigate into this model, and you can have a 360-degree of the rooms and all. And you can look up and look down, and you can check whether the modeling is correct or not. Otherwise, you can make changes. And it should be noted that Navisworks is used for navigation and simulation only. If you want to make a change, you should go to Revit and make the change. That is a process. So even above the ceiling, you can navigate and check the MEP connections and whether it is okay or not. And you can see that there are some clashes here. So if it is not cleared, it will be manually identifiable, and you can delete them. You can remove them in Revit itself. Clashes can. And you can create project reviewed markups, revision clouds, etc. in this here itself. While you are navigating, you can simply use tools like revision clouds and you can simply mark them up. For example, if you want to add some text like window by 10 centimeter to height or something like. You can add the comments like this, and it can be saved like a screenshot. You can save it here, save viewpoint. So when if you are navigating away from this, you can go to the saved viewpoint tab here. That will show you the comment you have added. So this can be sent to your team members and they can easily identify rather than looking into the AutoCAD. So these are some benefits of BIM softwares like Navisworks. Then there are many other workflows like so we have explained what is a 4D simulation. A 4D simulation combines spatial coordination with a construction plan. And we are using Timeliner for creating this specific task. So you can have a real project plan data from Primavera or Navisworks created by the planning engineer, and you can create your own 4D simulation. And finally, the cloud-based platform that is called BIM 360. So we have seen how the BIM authoring tools like Revit, how we can create BIM models using software Revit, then how to place different elements, how to add the parameters, take the estimate. Then we will see how to do the coordination using Navisworks, creating 4D simulation from Navisworks. Then in order to have the complete control over BIM workflow, that is the level 3 BIM or the open BIM standard, we need BIM 360 or any other tool similar to this. That is a cloud-based platform. There should be a cloud-based platform like, for example, like Google Drive or OneDrive. It is a cloud-based platform. We can store any data into folder system in these cloud platforms. So you can upload your projects, your drawings, your related files, your 3D geometries, the photos from the site, the reality capture you have got from the drones. Everything can be brought into this BIM 360 platform, and it can be shared with the different team members with the different access permissions. For example, some folders can be accessed by the senior members only. Some will be accessed by the architectural team only. For the MEP engineers, they will be having their confidential data. So the access can be managed by the manager, the administrator. So, and the important thing is that this can accelerate the project delivery and reduce risk for companies by enabling the office to easily coordinate and connect while empowering the field to anticipate and act. There will be a proper coordination between the site and design office. Otherwise, the site engineer or supervisor will always call the design engineer and ask for the data, and they will be sending one version of the file, and after 1 hour there is a design change and it is not acknowledged to the site, and they will start construction and there can be reworks and it will finally cause cost overruns and all. So if you are uploading these files into the central server, the notification will be sent automatically by the system to the all the stakeholders, all the team members, and everyone will be accountable. Otherwise, there will be no accountability. The site supervisor can say, I have no knowledge about the data updation and all. But this can be avoided if you are using the central BIM 360 based open BIM standards and all. So it can be also used as a viewer. Even if you are not using Revit, if you are having an iPad or some tab or mobile phones inside, you can open your Revit model and you can see the different elements, its properties, and all. Like a viewer, you can use it, cloud-based platform. Then another thing is that it enables collaborative operation. That is, collaboration means different team members can work simultaneously in a project. That is, for example, there is an architectural project or a structural modeling project is there, and there are 5 or 6 team members working on the same project, and there is a manager or coordinator is there, and one of the modeler is making a change, drawing a new wall or an interior wall, and it will be updated in all the computers, all the other computers simultaneously. And if some of the other team member is trying to delete or edit the elements modeled by another person, he should be granted the permission. Otherwise, it will not be granted. Otherwise, it cannot be done. So there is a proper protocol how the things will be drawn, how to avoid the overlaps and all. So the BIM 360 platform is very useful for easier project delivery, proper collaboration, then delivering information for easy consumption by anyone on the project. Then most importantly, enabling anytime, anywhere access to project data. The data can be accessed from anywhere. The team members can work from any location together in a project by using this platform. And the project will be synced every 2 or 3 minutes automatically to the server. So that changes will be automatically updated in every computer. And the data can be accessed for future planning and execution. And it will be saved as a single source of truth for every stakeholder, from government agencies to client to designers, site engineers, etc. Instead of keeping all the files, or keeping all the paperwork and all, you can upload it into this platform. So that is the importance of BIM 360, and it is a cloud-based platform, and it should be purchased. It cannot be used without purchasing. And after purchasing, the admin can add any number of team members into the project. You can find BIM 360 by simply searching for BIM 360 in any web. You can have more details about this here. So there are different workflows there. Like there are different products, docs, build, coordinate, and each of these module will have its own function. Docs is kind of a drive, document management drive. The design is for work sharing and design collaboration. Then there is a module for facilities management. You can save your model into the cloud, and you can set details like operation and maintenance schedule, warranty papers, etc. into the model, and that can be accessed by different stakeholders. So there are many options: the site execution, the meeting minutes preparation, then project management. Even the clash detection module is there, that is called coordinate inside BIM 360. Without any software, you can do clash detection also. So these are the things related to BIM 360, and actually, it is this is all about building information modeling and subsequent digitization of the construction industry. And BIM or building information modeling is the key to digitization of construction industry. Or you can say that BIM is equivalent to digital construction in a major sense. There are many other associative workflows like data analytics, reality capture, then AI, etc. But BIM or building information modeling is the core of digitization of construction industry. I hope this is clear for you. If you have any doubts regarding this, you can ask about the session, about the different modules.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, you can interact with the expert. Participants, if you have any queries, you can interact with the expert. Sir, will it be okay for you to share your mail ID to the participants?
Yeah, sure, sure. Again. I will present in the chat box.
Okay, sir.
I have shared in the chat.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Any queries from the participants?
Sir, sir, am I audible?
Yeah, okay.
Sir, I had a query.
Okay.
Regarding the Navisworks software where you explained that we can actually find the clashes and rectify them. So can
Okay.
we do it? Can we do it in that software itself, or you have to go back to the Revit and then clear out all the clashes and then do the backend?
Yeah. Actually, the clashes should be cleared using Revit itself. We can only detect the clash using Navisworks, and we need a BIM authoring tool to clear the clash, because Navisworks is only a simulation and navigation software. We can only find the clash, then prepare the report, then using the element ID, we need to find the clash in Revit itself. Then we need to clear it off. That's all.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Participants,
other
any more
queries?
questions?
Sir, one participant has asked in chat box, can we get software downloadable file? Okay.
Yeah, I will give it. Yeah, the software can be downloaded from official website, that is Autodesk website you can download. But if you have a student ID, or if you are a educator or a faculty, you can have the education license for 1 year. If you have the corresponding ID of the institution, you can have education license for 1 year. Otherwise, if you are a working professional, you need to purchase. Otherwise, you will be having only 30 days rights. That's all these Autodesk softwares like Revit, Navisworks. It is similar to AutoCAD. The licensing is similar to AutoCAD. It can be downloaded from the website itself. Student downloads and
Any more questions from the participants?
One question is in the chat box, sir.
okay, I will look at. StatPro versus ETABS. Actually, StatPro, ETABS, SAP, everything is good on its own characteristics. You can use any of this, but normally for ETABS is mostly used by structural modelers here. Studies also equally good, but ETABS is normally used.
Hope there are no more queries from the participants.
There is one more question, I think. So, cost of implementing software for projects. Actually, you can get the quote for the software from the Revit, from the Autodesk website itself. It is like having a license fee of around 1 lakh per license. It is something like that. If you are going for more number of license, I think there will be kind of reductions in cost. That is for the Revit only. Then there will be software charges for Navisworks as well as BIM 360. But what we have to say is that if you are going to implement, if you are digitize your industry, the final or the final cost savings will be much better. Even if you are considering the cost of the software, you can avoid all the reworks. You can you can make the project delivery faster, and that will eventually reduce the project cost. So the software cost will be negligible when compared to that. That's
hope there are no more questions. Dear participants. Matthew sir, can we move on to the vote of thanks?
Yes, please, Miss sir, please.
Okay. Now I welcome Christy Francis Lone for the vote of thanks. Christy.
Thank you, Miss. So, according to St. Ambrose, who lived many years ago, no duty is more urgent than that of returning the thanks. So, good afternoon to all present here. I'm delighted to have been given the pleasant duty of delivering the vote of thanks this evening. I, Christy Francis Lant, on behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, College of Engineering, Kedangur, would like to thank our FTP speaker, Engineer Aslam Muhammad Asraf Sir, Senior Technical Engineer, BIM Labs Engineering Services Kochi, who, despite his busy schedule, accepted our invitation and enriched our knowledge in this digital construction. The session was all about digital construction, where he mainly discussed in this session about the BIM, cloud computing, reality modeling, and etc. So we are actually creating this representation of a building asset in the form of designs, construction, and operation process. It's actually a CAD-based workflow where the engineers will create the floor plans, elevations, sections, etc. But CAD-based workflow has some limitations, like the coordination among different departments may not be proper, and clashes can take place, and this solutions to clashes can only be found out during the execution phase and not before that, which can lead to delay in time. So how BIM can help in all the delays and the loss in cost is being explained by him during this session. So during the design phase itself, we can identify the clashes and rectify it, and many more key benefits of BIM were discussed in this session. And BIM for owners, for facility manager, for collaborating as a collaborating functions, it is very useful for the government, institutions, stakeholders, etc. were also discussed. And during the design stage itself, we are actually able to rectify many errors which can be done using the BIM. And other than that, he actually gave us an insight to different softwares. Like we require BIM authoring tools is required to get all the details. Among them, Revit is a BIM authoring tool. He gave us a brief insight about the software by introducing us to the various commands and families and tools available in the Revit software. Not only that software, but also for the clash detection purposes and for reviewing and visualizing the progress of the project. He briefly gave us an insight on the Navisworks, which is actually a navigation tool or for access and navigation. Virtually, he showed us how we can detect the clashes and rectify them. Also, the progress of a project work, and how we can check the, whether the modeling is correct or not with the 3D animation tool was being explained in detail by Sir. And other than that, he also discussed many various collaboration is possible with the different departments using BIM 360. And BIM is the core of modeling, was what he discussed in this session. So once again, sir, I would like to thank for enlightening us with the vital information and knowledge in digital construction. Indeed, you have put your best efforts to make this session unforgettable. Thank you, sir. Really, we are highly obliged. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz.